As I make the rounds and put the miles down, I drift in and out of different regions, different scenes, all connected, yet characteristically individual in their own way. Some scenes benefit from constant exposure and attention, while others operate below the radar. Some scenes get played out and turn over, while others thrive and endure. Some would say certain regions, certain scenes are undernourished. I'd say they're hungry, and that they stay hungry because they truly appreciate skateboarding for what it is and what it freely gives, not for what they hope to take from it. The southern United States is a skate scene that historically has had very little attention paid to it. Tucked away between the coasts and below the beaten path are several states that many skaters rarely hear about: Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. In recent years, no other part of the country has dealt with more adversity, in particular the Gulf Coast region and the city of New Orleans, which were devastated by Hurricane Katrina in 2005.
Silence dissolves all objects.
Watching the tragedy of Katrina play out on television, my heart ached, and I couldn't help but think of the skaters there. So once the cleanup effort started, I felt strongly about visiting New Orleans to see for myself what was happening.
It can be felt directly because it is our nearness. Silence is restriction.
With the rest of the city focused on rebuilding, the skate scene in New Orleans has adapted to life after Katrina and pressed on, because for many, having even the slightest bit of familiarity can get one through the tough and tragic times. Much of the destruction left in Katrina's wake, the skaters have found opportunities to make the best of a bad situation, and upon their return into the city, were greeted with smiles and positive encouragement. Suddenly, the scratching of a curb, ledge, or bench didn't seem like such a great offense, and just seeing people being active outdoors and utilizing the city was a real hopeful sign of life for many, that things were getting back to normal. Showing me around was local skater Todd Taylor. Todd was born and raised in New Orleans and is an active voice in the area skate scene.
So right after the hurricane, you come back in the city and you're skating around, and it's like, instead of everything being a bust, people are just glad to see you.
Yeah, it's pretty rad, you know. A lot of places, like I guess they're just stoked that people are coming back in the city, you know, and not afraid, and maybe you'll be able to, you know, keep your lifestyle going because the city's not going to become abandoned or closed, and, you know, probably just stoked to see people that are from New Orleans rather than, you know, wherever they were, seeing a bunch of people they didn't know or didn't recognize. Mm-hmm. Maybe it made them feel even like things are back to normal, you know, like, oh, the skateboard kids are back, you know. Yeah. God, it must be getting normal again, you know. These dudes must not have anything to worry about, obviously.
Plus, I imagine skateboarding seemed kind of small in the scale of things after the hurricane. It didn't seem like such a
Yeah, you know, I figure
nuisance.
they used to worry about, you know, a curb the paint getting scratched off, and now they had 8 feet of water in their business. You know, it's a minor thing. I guess a curb that costs $10 to paint's a minor thing when you got $100,000 of damage on your building and you lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of property. You know,
Yeah.
definitely small price. You know, and I'm sure the city doesn't really seem to care. You know, they've got many other problems to worry about than having people chasing skateboarders. You know, they don't even
Right.
probably have enough police to do the normal jobs and whatever strife is going on in the police department.
Obviously, there's bigger fish to fry than going to City Hall and asking for a skate park. But perhaps certain buildings will be designated
As the skate park, yeah, I would definitely. The welfare building's somewhat of a, you know.
And maybe somewhere in there, a dialogue is started amongst the skaters and the politicians or law enforcement, whoever. So as the city grows and comes back together, there's an understanding of who's who and what's what, and maybe there's some designated areas that are skate friendly.
That would be awesome. You know, maybe cops will realize, you know, that, hey, we need these people to live in our city. Maybe we shouldn't just harass them. This is what our job's based on now. We gotta make people want to be back, not in fear or worrying about, you know, just tiny little things.
That's hopeful. I think so.
I hope so, man.
Post-hurricane skate spot.
Pretty much. I'd seen it around for a while and finally just came out and checked it out, you know. It's a pretty fun little thing, like a unique square bar that out in the middle of a parking lot.
Yeah, man. Were these stores looted or flooded or?
Oh, they were probably looted. I'm sure, I don't know how much good stuff was in them. About, like, looks like the water was at like 4 feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an area that got really, really badly destroyed. I'm sure someone attempted to loot something.
Yeah. This is just one of those post-hurricane skate spots that popped up, and actually there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff, you know. You just drive around and find things, and everything changes every day. Sometimes they'll move stuff around, or, you know, they'll throw stuff out and you can make something. So it's kind of a weird thing, you know. You have to just go around and keep your eyes open.
You gotta stay on the move.
Stay on the move.
It's like almost a perfect setup.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. It's a fun little spot.
Have something negative, there's something positive in it for a skater.
Yep. Guess that's everything with skateboarding, somewhat.
Yeah.
Skating around downtown and talking with the local skaters confirmed that skateboarding in New Orleans still matters, maybe more so now than ever.
what makes this city what it is? I mean, obviously it's famous worldwide, you know, but what makes New Orleans New Orleans?
I mean, it's just a lot of it, I think, is just people, you know, like they're definitely, I think a lot of people here are creative and they're just themselves. It's kind of, I guess, of like Southern Louisiana, it's kind of the hub, you know? I mean, most of the people that you'll meet down here, that you meet from skating and stuff, like they're not from here. I mean, they're from somewhere close, but they're not born in New Orleans, you know?
Todd witnessed the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina firsthand. And as we set out to visit some of the outlying neighborhoods, the full extent of the impact on the landscape of the city and the people who call it home came into full view.
You left town before the hurricane hit?
Yeah, it's actually the first time I've ever left town. I mean, usually like you're watching and it's like all the guys that really know what's going on, the meteorologists and everything are like, you know, it could turn and come towards New Orleans, but I don't think it is.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And then it's like this one, they were straight up like, it's coming here.
Yeah.
And it could be a Category 5. And I mean, everything you're ever told about a Category 5 is that when you get a Category 5 hurricane in New Orleans, it's going to be 20 feet of water in the city.
What's the vibe in the city now? I mean, recovery, and is it pretty positive? Or?
I think it's really positive. Everybody has a lot of pride about New Orleans right now. Like they're totally stoked on it, you know?
Was there much damage down here in the French Quarter?
There's a lot of like wind damage and like a lot of the roofs are messed up. But they didn't get any water down here. This is the highest point of the city. So it didn't get too bad, you know?
I swear to you, man, that was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever watched on television. Beyond like 9/11, beyond every like tragedy that's come our way over the last however many years, you know, that was the toughest thing to watch. Was just people like in this city just completely abandoned.
I mean, I remember watching in Lafayette, and I was like 2 hours away, and then it's like you're watching this thing, and it's like this horrific thing, and you're like, I want to like, you know, just drive down there and like save people or do whatever, you know?
You couldn't watch it and not feel something like that. It's like, it's so like heartbreaking to watch, man.
You just kept looking for like the positive, you know? And it's like, even with like, you know, 9/11, you look and you're just like, it went from bad to worse, but then it leveled out, you know? And you're like, all right, they can start redoing things. But I just remember being like I woke up every morning and I just wanted to see something positive, man. Yeah. I wanted to see that like the water stopped rising, or we got everybody out of the Superdome, or like that's all I wanted to see. But like I think it was like 6 days before something positive happened, and I remember just like waking up like it was a nightmare, man. Like every morning, just turning to CNN and being like, what's going on here, you know? Yeah. Like I remember driving through Chalmette, the first like opportunity we got to go through there, and it looked like the roads had never been paved because there was so much mud on top of them.
This looks pretty bad over here.
Yeah, this is really bad. This is all like a poor area. So a lot of these people probably didn't come back. Like these are probably rentals, or a lot of people are just like, screw it, I'm just gonna file for bankruptcy and just not even deal with it, you know? I mean, you can see a couple of FEMA trailers.
What's all the writing on the houses?
The number on the bottom is the number dead. Number on the top is the date. Things on the side, one of them has to do with who came and checked. Like the TX, that's probably like, I would say Texas State Police came down and volunteered. Like,
are there people back in any of these houses here?
I've seen some crazy people living in houses they shouldn't be living in. But for the most part, probably not, you know? I mean, there's FEMA trailers. I saw a couple of FEMA trailers. So there are people living back in this area.
Yeah, man, this is pretty gnarly over here. It gets worse than this?
Yeah, it gets worse. I mean, the lower 9th Ward is seriously like, think of the worst thing you've ever seen like in Iraq or the news, and that's what the lower 9th Ward is. And this is like a million times better than when it first. I mean, you can see all the houses, like they're all pushed together, like they all probably, you know, that house was probably on the corner. You can see the porch where the house used to be. You know, imagine like a house used to be on that. It's probably one of those. I mean, it's kind of creepy. Like you go out and you walk around, you just see things, like little things that were like people's, you know? Like,
Just the cement porches just sitting there by themselves is so creepy.
yeah, like we've actually skated this little fence over there, and like I look right next to it and there's like a Teddy Ruxpin on the ground, you know? And you're like, man, that was like somebody.
Yeah. Was there a lot of deaths in this?
Yeah, this was the main area of death, and I mean, this was a really poor neighborhood. So I mean, the water came in like so quick. And just the fact, like the poor neighborhoods in New Orleans are the ones that people generally don't leave. So.
Look at this, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, like that's, you know, a lot of that's just.
That's unbelievable. It's just amazing what water can do.
Yeah.
No, I think I'd feel a little creepy about skating this stuff. You know?
I had watched the news and seen and heard about the utter destruction of the Ninth Ward, but it's not until you see it with your own eyes that it really sinks in and hits home. I've always believed that the spirit of skateboarding is about making something out of nothing, and I have applied this mentality all over the world, in any and every environment. But try as I might, I could not see myself riding my skateboard in the Ninth Ward. I did not feel it appropriate, and really, as I drove through the tattered streets, skateboarding was the furthest thing from my mind. When the levees broke in New Orleans, and our federal government was slow to react, many were left disillusioned. Seeing the damage and destruction firsthand, one can't believe this is a city in the United States. These aren't just structures and vehicles we're talking about. These are people's lives. These are neighborhoods where children laughed and played, and where families gathered for dinner. When you see personal items scattered on what look like war-torn streets, items like combs, CDs, and toys, you begin to feel the pain of the tragedy. It becomes personal and individual. All those lives scattered, driven from their homes. Will this city ever truly be the same again? I don't know. I don't know. I do know the skaters of New Orleans that have returned have truly set out to make the best of a bad situation. They see themselves as active and integral members of a greater community that is standing up and moving on. A lot can be learned from them. They are living proof that perspective means everything. That when times get tough and things look bleak, one should continue to pursue the things that matter most to him or her. That our passions are our life force and keep us going positively and productively. That we can and should adapt at every turn, and that we should always strive to see the good in everything. Leaving New Orleans and getting back out into the southern countryside, I look forward to experiencing more of the South and meeting the people and seeing the places that make up this often overlooked skate scene.